Dude, what the hell? My video froze. Well, how'd that happen? Did it freeze on your end? Or
it didn't look like it.
No, okay, it froze on my end, so I don't know. Okay, okay, good. As long as it went forward, it's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're alive. Welcome to another edition of Talking Comics. I'm your host, Julius Freeman, and with me today, I have a man called Kemosabe.
G'day, everyone. I'm the man called Kemosabe, the man with the plane from the land down under, and thanks for having me on your show, mate.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. I've been following you on Twitter for a while. You always retweet and like the stuff that I've been coming out with, and like the Good Old Dragon. So I appreciate your support there, and also you have good taste in comics, I have to say, because you do like a lot of the stuff that I like, and it's like, all right, hey, this guy has good taste. This guy knows what's up. He knows exactly what he likes, and I'm feeling them. So
yeah, that's how it is, isn't it? Like you sort of find your people. You go, well, this guy, anybody who's up on Superman, anybody who's up on how valid Superman is and how we need him as a character and the worth that he has. That's someone that's in my circle. I like that sort of person. Even if they've got other ideas I don't necessarily gel with. And then anything street level, Daredevil, Ghetto Dragon, Batman, Moon Knight, that sort of Punisher, that sort of thing. I like that. So that's in my circle too. So you got this Venn diagram of all these interests that overlap, and you just sort of right in the middle there with. So we seem to vibe on the same sort of stuff, which is cool. You just tend to find your people.
Yeah, awesome. And on top of that, you're on Australia. I take it.
Yeah,
Australia. Yeah, Australia, and I'm in the United States in California, and yet we still have that connection, which is fantastic. It shows
that comics.
Yeah, that boundaries are broken when you like the same kind of comic books.
Exactly.
So
right.
There you go, people. That's why comic books are such an important factor in our culture, because if it wasn't for comics, the man called Kemosabe wouldn't be on this show, right?
It makes magic happen.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm curious to know what got you into comics. What was the first comic book that got you like, whoa, that opened up your mind to and your eyes to comic books? Was it an Australian comic book? Was it an American comic book? Take us down that journey as to what inspired you to become a comic book creator.
Yeah, for sure. So you probably heard this from other Australian creators if you've ever seen them on stream. And some people want to say this isn't true, but it's my experience. So all I can say is how it was for me. Growing up in Australia back in the 80s, it was hard to get a hold of comic books. Like if you're in the big city, I'm sure there probably was an actual comic book store you could walk into. And if you're on the coast, you could walk into the newsagents and pick up an issue of Spider-Man, but it wouldn't be regular. They wouldn't have the same issue in every month. You couldn't get Amazing Spider-Man 6 months running. It'd just be whatever come in at the time. Thanks, Tech. I really craving some Vegemite toast right now. I tell you what, I woke up this morning. I haven't had it. I don't feel myself without it. So you can always get the Phantom comics. So the Phantom, the dude in the purple with the guns and the Ghost Who Walks. Okay. He's hugely popular in Australia. He's not like he's on billboards and stuff everywhere. Like probably these days more kids know Iron Man, they know Phantom. But overall, in terms of being able to find a comic, you walk into a comic book store in Timbuktu, in Alice Springs, in Fink, newsagents. You'll probably still find a Phantom comic up the back somewhere. You won't find Batman. You won't find Superman. So we grew up with a lot of that. I found a lot of secondhand comics at the secondhand bookstore. The covers torn off. The old black and white editions are reprints, and they have Justice League and Batman and Superman stories from the Silver Age and the early Bronze Age all sort of crammed into one edition, and you pick them up for 20 cents, 50 cents. I used to buy stacks of those. Just every spare cent I had. Some of my earliest memories is reading comics. I learned to reading comics. That's all I wanted to draw. It's all I've ever really wanted to do.
That's awesome, man. Wow, That's a very cool origin tale there. So I take it you don't live in a major city in Australia. I take it you live in a kind of like in the outskirts of the city, like a suburban area. I really don't know much about the suburban area. Okay, so
yeah, so in
that's
Australia,
awesome.
Most people live on the coast. Yeah, most people live on the coast because the middle 80% is just desert, and it's mostly, when I say it's uninhabitable, the indigenous people have been inhabiting it for thousands of years. So they do all right, but the way they live and the lifestyle they have isn't always conducive. It's not internet. It's not. You're out there hunting kangaroos and digging witchetty grubs out of bark and digging up desert roots to mulch them down and get moisture out of those. Like you can live, but very few people choose to live out there. If you live right out there, some of those communities, it's a 13-hour drive to the nearest store. You live.
Wow.
And that's to Alice Springs, which is a big town in the Northern Territory. It's the major city in the Northern Territory, but it's still not. They're still fairly rural in a lot of ways, and you won't have access to a lot of stuff. So people go into town 4 times a year. They buy up for 3 months at a time worth of stuff, take it back to the little community, and they work in ranches and they work in communities and reservations and stuff out there with the indigenous peoples.
Wow. Australia sounds like a great place. A very unique area. And I don't know much about Australia because, most Americans are in a little bubble. So I'm, myself included. So I really don't know much about the Australian culture, the only thing I know about Australia is the outback. That's the only thing that I always heard about is the outback. So, wow, that's amazing that your introduction to comics were, like you said, the secondhand covers ripped off for 50 cents. That's pretty cool because you got an education of sorts of the masters, Silver Age. I mean, those were the masters at that time. So you got a firsthand taste of like what the masters wrote during that time in comics. So that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, there's all self-contained storytelling. That was like 1 issue or 2 issues to tell the whole story. It might be 2 issues and they had them both reprinted in the same edition. And it was all classic, like Jose Garcia type body types with the real classic. Nobody looked like Schwarzenegger. It wasn't quite Liefeld. It wasn't quite the dad bod yoga dudes we've got these days. It was somewhere in between back in the 70s when everybody was like peak physical condition and classic Hal Jordan, Barry Allen. You see Barry Allen running up the side of a wall, and it's just Justice League. Yeah, I just love all that sort of stuff, all that classic storytelling. That's what I come up on.
So since when you first started reading comics, and that was the moment you realized this is what I want to do, or that was the first time you picked up a book, or was it like when you got older when you realized you wanted to make your own comic book?
I suppose you've got to differentiate between, being a kid, you make your own characters. Of course, first you start off drawing their characters, and you think, well, I've got my own dude that's going to hang out with the Justice League, so you make up your own character, and then you make up more, and you realize I don't need a Justice League. I can just have my own dudes doing their own thing. So you do that, and then at some point you realize somebody gets paid, and you look down the bottom, you see the credits, and you're like penciler, inker, writer, letterer. It's funny that I don't know if they had colorist credited back then, but it is always in black and white. I remember years later I come across this fantastic Red Tornado story from a Justice League 2-parter in color, and it blew my mind to see it in color. And somehow it looked inferior because it's my favorite comic growing up was this Red Tornado Justice League 2-part story with Tio Morrow in it, and to see it in color just absolutely wrecked my perception of it. But you see the credits, you see people getting paid for it, and you realize, well, maybe I could do that too. So you start drawing. I'm a pretty decent artist. I didn't quite. I plateaued early and didn't quite put in as much time. I got distracted. I think probably girls and other stuff got in the way as it does. Right? Yeah,
of course.
Tale as old as time itself.
It's always the girls, those pesky girls.
Always the girls. Man. Can't blame them.
They take us away from our craft. But it's well worth it, though. Well worth it.
And then I figured out I'm a better writer than I'm an artist, so I thought I better push into that and better feed that more because, being a writer, you can work on 10 things at once. I'll have a dozen scripts going at once, plus prose, novels, stuff like that. But whereas you're an artist, you tend to, I suppose you could jump between projects, but you got to shift styles maybe or shift content.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think you're really probably better off just focusing on the one and getting that done. And so often I see artists out there saying, "Oh look, here's my work." You go on like one of those comic collaboration subreddits or on a Facebook page, and someone saying, "Here's my work. Has anybody got a script they want to hire me to work on?" It's the other way around for me. I write the script and then I find someone whose style suits it and I say, can we negotiate a page rate that works for you? And then we make it happen. So in that way, I'm my own boss. I retain all my own IPs. I don't have to share with anybody. I'm not, like begging around for work. Somebody want me to write their book. I just write my own book and I pay someone to make it for me. So it's a much better format, much more conducive. If it was the other way around, I'd be working on someone else's book right now. I wouldn't be being interviewed right now. Somebody else would be, and I'd be at home working on their book. So I much prefer this setup. I think I've come out on top in terms of maybe not being as good an artist as I'd like, but I get to be a good writer, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, no, well said. I was in the same boat as well. I try to draw my own comics growing up as well, and then I realized that I was the better writer than the better artist. And same deal with you. I would create the stories, and then, like for instance, The Good Old Dragon was one example where I wrote the entirety of it, and I just found I was looking for an artist who would fit the style of what I wrote, and I pay them their fee, but they don't get a share of the IP unless I choose to, which is what the most hopefully I don't know, I'm not sure yet, but That's of course at your discretion if you choose to want to share the IP with the artists who stick with you for a long time. Because I'm a big loyalist type of guy. So if you're loyal to me and loyal not just to me but to the work, then maybe we could cut a deal. But overall, yeah, you're right. I do prefer that option of writing the story, creating the story, and then hiring an artist to just here's the work. Here's the character, the descriptions, the character biographies, the setting, the world. Here's all the encyclopedic knowledge you need for the story, and that's it. But yeah, you're right. It's a better approach, in my opinion, in terms of creating a book. Speaking of which, let's talk about your project.
Yeah.
Your project, The Company of Men, Dead, White, and Blue, which is a fantastic title, by the way. I love the title when you first launched it. Not launched it, but when you first started telling everyone about it, because I remember you mentioned a few times on Twitter that you were working on something and you were just waiting, and then finally you brought it out, and I was like, hey, it's actually pretty good. And I also love the logo. The logo looks fantastic. The cover is fantastic. So tell us a little bit about The Company of Men. What is it about? Is it a superhero comic? Is it a Black Ops military comic type, G.I. Joe type of deal? Give us the 411 on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of both of those. I mean, I use the tagline, they're super, but they're not heroes. They got powers, but they're not good guys. G'day, Chris. Thanks for turning up, mate. They're CIA run, they're called a prevention and response unit. So the idea is to stop things from happening before they happen. So, g'day, Dean. So, they're operating in the Middle East, working against mostly terrorist threats towards the US and US holdings in those regions. But very often they're just used as like a hit squad. They're just, here's some bad guys. We think they're up to no good. Go take them out before things get worse,
Okay.
And they're very, very mercenary. They're not superheroes like they're, out to protect people. They're out to do their job first. Their job is to stop the bad guys. If there's collateral damage, that's part of the job. These are the guys who do that. Those really awful jobs, those really tough jobs nobody else wants to do, those shades of moral gray. I use the example, like if there's a dude in the Middle East there and he's a human trafficker or something, and of course logic says we should take him out because that's one of the most heinous crimes you can commit. But these guys would be like, well, hold on, that dude is he's going to have intel next week that we need, so we've got to leave him running until we get the intel we want. So, but how many people lives are going to be hurt by that while you leave him running? And they're like, how many people are going to die in the next terrorist attack because we took this guy out, we didn't get the intel we need? Like, as powerful as they are, they come up, and this is what I like about it, I think, the conflict, because conflict is story. Without conflict, you don't have a story. So the conflict they come up against is very often those moral shades of grey, those different levels of, like, it's not just black and white. You can't just take out the human trafficker because he has information we need. So you got to balance it. You got to go, and you got to keep him. If he knows you're going to take him out next week, so okay, Mahab, we're going to let you do this for one more week, and then we're taking you out. Well, of course he's going to disappear, take his operation somewhere else. He's not going to give you the intel you need anyway. So they have to play the game. There's a great scene there where they go to get information off this dude, and he says, I will give you information, but I can't right now because in like 1 minute, somebody I'm doing negotiations with is going to walk through that door. So why don't you guys just go sit in a corner, look real tough, I'll have my negotiations, and then I'll tell you what you want to know. And they're like, yeah, you just want us here to look tough so people think that your actions are sanctioned by the CIA because we're here. That's tacit approval. We're tacitly approving that you're doing this drug dealing, and this guy thinks you've got CIA backing, and that's going to make your position better when you do this negotiation. So it's that sort of stuff. If you've seen like Body of Lies, if you've seen Homeland, if you've seen Black Hawk Down, you've seen those sort of like Strike Back. You ever see the TV show Strike Back? A lot of that sort of stuff, a lot of political stuff. And it's not political like I'm pushing an agenda. I have literally no agenda here but to entertain, and I'm not here saying this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. But political is in everything you do has a political ramification. So every time they take a step, they're getting pushback from political factions saying, hey, this has political ramification. You can't just come into our area. This is our space. This is our country. You don't have authority here. This is our holy area. This is our place. You do this, and other people hear about it. There's a scene there where they get information off one guy, and they go to follow up with another dude, and he already knows they're coming because his cousin called him and said they're coming. So he was ready for them. He was ready and waiting. There's a scene there where they go in to get information off this dude, and they beat him up and push him around and push him into the next room and get in there, mother effer, and cause this big scene. And they get through the door, and they're all laughing and slapping each other on the back and having a drink because it's all a big show. They're acting like, oh, you're the biggest, baddest dude in town. We come here to lean on you. We're getting money. We're pushing you around. We're the awful Americans that are here in your country doing bad stuff, and you're this. So they make him out like he's this tough freedom fighter pushing back against him in front of his crowd, in front of his his bar full of people, they all think, oh, look, this guy, our patron, he's standing up to the Americans. And oh no, they pushed him back into the next room. They're going to beat him up. He's such a hero for us, fighting for us. And instead, he's selling his own people out for money, and the company men are getting information off him. So there's lots of shades of grey there. There's lots of flexibility, you know, and even though it's full of action, there's heaps of that spycraft type stuff as well. There's interrogations, there's red herrings, there's assassinations and wet works, there's double dealings, there's triple agents, there's all that sort of stuff. There's levels of complexity there on top of just a knockdown, drag down, good old fashioned punch up superhero comic with metahumans fighting each other.
Nice. All right. So a gray area world where the heroes are not really heroes, they're anti-heroes. I would take it then, right?
Yeah.
Anti-heroes for hire. Is that what the gist of it I get from this?
Yeah.
project?
So they're all under contract to the CIA, which and
Gotcha.
some you know, some might be in contract for a week, some might be in contract for a year. It's whatever they decide to take on, whatever the CIA needs them for. Everybody's in the team for their own reasons. For some guys, it's money. For some, it's a sense of purpose. For some, it's redemption. And you can go through each character and point to each one and say, this is why this guy is here. This is why that guy is here. I'll scroll down and show you guys some of the artwork. So this is the first scene of the book. I call it the James Bond intro, the James Bond opening. If you ever watch one of the, particularly the modern James Bond movies, there's that first 5 or 10 minutes where he's doing
let me add your screen to my. Is that you? Is that you right there? Is that your screen?
This one here.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yep. Yeah, cool. Yeah. There's first 5 or 10 minutes in James Bond movie where he does something really, really cool. And it sets the tone for the whole movie. It's like, and you see this guy's competent, this guy's capable, this guy has agency, this guy is the protagonist or a protagonist, one of the main characters, and he'll do that mission and he'll stop some horrible threat, and then the music plays and then the credits roll, and then he walks into M's office and gets the next mission. And you realize that first bit we saw was just setting the tone, was just setting the scene for the whole story, just showing you how cool he was. It was like the end of the last mission of the last movie, and this is the start of the new one. So same thing here. This is the end of Jura's current mission. So Jura's this bloke here. He's got ice powers. He was an operator that fell into the Arctic water up in the Arctic. He's doing a mission up there, and his body temperature plummeted to sub-zero temperatures. They hauled him out. Now, these guys, these operators, these black ops guys cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to train over their lifetime. So he's too valuable to just let die. They said, just any crazy procedure you got, try anything experimental you've got to bring him back, because right now he's flatlining and his temperature's like 100 degrees below zero. So bring him back. They brought him back, but his body temperature never quite raised up high enough to be a regular person. He's constantly pumping out waves of freezing energy. He's a walking ice age. He just snap freezes everything around him, like Cyclops' optic blast, without his ruby visor. So if he walks into a room without his power inhibitor, everything within a couple of miles just gets snap frozen, like instantly, just. So he's got these power inhibitors implanted in his body to keep his power levels down. They absorb the cold, and then he can discharge the cold through his freeze gun. Because before he couldn't channel the energy. It just goes out like in a perimeter around him, 360 perimeter, just freezing everything. But this way he can channel it through a freeze gun and use that as a weapon. So he drops down here. He's in the imagination of Burundi. I don't want to use real places because, I remember being a kid reading Marvel and DC comics, and they had these imaginary nations they'd make up. And I always thought it seemed a bit silly. But then when you've got to go actually put a real country name to the stuff that's happening, and you realize real people have suffered and died there, it seems really tacky to use to call it Afghanistan, or to call it Nigeria, or to call it the People's Democratic Republic of the Congo or something. Like, I don't want to wear that around my neck. So I did the same thing they do, and I just made up my own pretend nation. There's a bunch of them here because I couldn't bring myself to use a real nation. So this is Burundi.
Yeah, the better choice in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. This guy here is the Reverend Tuma Kagosi. He considers himself a god on earth. He says, I'm a god. I'm a direct link to God on earth, and all of his people. You see them reaching out to him, heal me, protect me. You are the living God on earth, and he's but he's also a killer, a tyrant, despot. He's killed thousands of European landholders. He's genocided local tribes. Like he's a genocidal maniac. And the worst thing about him to the CIA is that he funnels terrorists down through one nation, through his nation, into the rest of the Middle East. So he's allowing the movement of extremists into that region and flooding the region with newly trained terrorists coming straight out of Pakistan and stuff. So they need this guy out of the way. They've sent Jura to do the job. He drops down here into this. You see the huge crowd here. He drops down.
Yeah, which is that's a great panel, by the way. That whoever who's your artist? Who's the artist of this book?
Kelso Mazine's the artist on this one, straight out of Brazil. I come across him on a collaborating comics subreddit. I don't actually use Reddit at all, but I was just trying to find somebody to collaborate with. Somebody had the right sort of paramilitary style, and
Right.
I found this subreddit. I find Reddit really confusing to navigate. Actually, I guess I'm a bit of a boomer like that.
Right.
Just nothing makes sense. And the idea that the most popular
Right.
comment is at the top, it's like, but what if there's good content? Like that's what you guys think is popular. That seems like a flawed system to me. Anyway, I found his stuff. He had some Punisher pages that he'd done up for like a submission to Marvel. Had heaps of motorbikes and helicopters and M4s and stuff. Like, this dude knows how to draw paramilitary stuff. This is the guy I want. So I hit him up about this time last year, I think it was. And it's we've had a few interruptions with the COVID, and I got my identity stolen by Chinese hackers earlier last year.
No way.
Yeah, man. They got,
dude.
Because in Australia, if you want to do anything, you've got to go through the MyGov website. The government set up this website. Everything you do, your kids' immunization, your child payments, and like you everything you do that involves money and living and surviving, your license to drive your car, anything goes to the MyGov website. You don't have a choice. It's that, or you walk. You walk everywhere.
What?
You know.
So wait, you're telling me that the internet is not privatized in Australia? It's owned by the government? The government runs the internet in Australia?
No, just everything you want to do with living in the world. Like, so your driver's license. Like, if I take my kids to get them immunized, I got to go through the MyGov website. If they're not immunized, they can't go to school. So there's stuff like that'll interrupt with your.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
Wow.
We don't have a choice to use that website. It does.
Sucks, man. Sorry to hear that. Damn.
It's not great. Like, they rolled it out like it was a more convenient thing. And it is kind of convenient to have everything in the one place just to get along. But then, you realize after all, hackers.
You got hackers, exactly.
They got everything.
The downside. Jeez.
They got my bank account, my birth certificate, my passport. They got copies of everything. So,
oh man,
yeah, shocker. So I had to start from scratch. I had to go in and
my heart is like sinking for you right now. Just the thought of, especially Chinese, man. Chinese hackers. You don't want to mess with Chinese.
Brutal. Yeah, it set us back about 3 months. Honestly, this book, I think people would have this book in their hands by now if it wasn't for that. It set us back 3 months, and I didn't even find out about it till later. They're like 6 months later, they sent me this letter saying, "Oh, by the way, the Chinese have had your details for 6 months, so you better just get a brand new everything, new birth certificate, new passport, new license, new bank account, everything." Fortunately, they didn't get any of my wife's stuff, so she was able to, because over here you can sign and say this person is this person. And sort of speed up the procedure a bit. But it still took us 3 months to get myself back up and running. So it's 3 months I wasn't able to pay the artist because I had no bank accounts.
Right.
So he had to take other work on because I wouldn't say that he relies on my payments to live, but I think he's made, because I pay him regularly, 5 pages, I pay him 5 pages, I pay him. I think he relies on that regular payment. When I said, "Look, man, Kelso, I've been hacked. I can't pay you until I get this up and running." He says, "Well, I'm going to have to take on other work." And that pushed the whole project back. But despite that, the book is 100% done. We've got all the pencils and inks done. So it's ready to go. It's just a matter of just getting all the colors and the letters done, and then we'll be right to go. So I don't think that'll take much at all. And the money for the colors and letters has all been budgeted separately from this campaign. So the money from this campaign is just raised to pay for the shipping and the distribution and the printing of the book. Like, all the actual work on the book that needs to be finished, coloring and letters, that's going to be paid for out of my own money. That's separate to this campaign. So it's a lock. It's guaranteed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, before you move on, I just want to like let everyone know that right there, what he just said, what the man called Kemosabi just said, that's called perseverance. Didn't stop. Then an obstacle hit his way. He didn't give up. He kept on going. He just had to slow things down. But now he has his project, met his goal, and hopefully, what's the estimated time delivery for this project?
I've chucked it out on December. Because I haven't done this before, so I don't think we'll get hacked again. But
yeah, hopefully not. Yeah. Hopefully not. Knock on wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But December is the December estimated time delivery. So that it shows you that a man called Kemosabe is someone who just you can't take him down. You can't bring him down. Now he has his project. He's unstoppable, like the company it meant. So but going back to the artist, fantastic artist pick, by the way. And that panel right there was a very impressive panel when I was looking at the pages earlier today, and I was thinking, wow, this artist is really freaking fantastic. And so it's not surprising that he's from South America, because South America is a growing sub hub of talent down there right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And watch out for the South American comic book artists and writers, because they're going to come out and they're going to explode onto the world scene. So go on, Kemosabe, with your description.
Just so all the shipping in the US is being handled by RJ from Critical Blast Logistics. So working towards
cool.
that shipping date of December, like obviously it's going to be before that, but I'm shipping all the books over to him bulk because the majority, I'd say probably 80% of my orders have come from the US. So I'm shipping them to him bulk. He's redistributing them, bagged, boarded, thermal sleeve, Gemini mailer, padded post, sent to you. And when we've done it like that, the way we've worked it out, the shipping on that is about half what you'd expect from a book from Australia. So if you go and check in the one of the physical tiers for the US, your shipping's about half what you would have paid for an Australian book that you've paid previously, roughly. So that's another way we're trying to save that money, trying to pass savings on back to you guys, trying to get books into hands, because this is the first book out of 3 to make up the whole Dead, White, and Blue story. It's a 180-page story, but there's no way I could have done shipping on 180 pages. It's just too big a book first time out, and the art wouldn't have been done by 2023, so it'd be another couple of years. And I wanted to get in on this sooner rather than later. I had to have something real and realized in people's hands to make it. I mean, how long can you keep talking about this book? I was 180 pages. You'll see it in another 2 years. People are going to lose interest. I had to get it out there as soon as I could, especially after that big setback. So you guys are going to be able to get it earlier than December. You're going to get it cheaper than you used to, and anybody does it after that fact, in demand or whatever, RJ says he can get the book in the mail in 24 hours. You tell me you want a copy, you buy it, I pass the information on RJ, he's got a book in the mail 24 hours, you got it back to you soon after that. So it's a really good system he's got set up. So the reason that Jira's come to here is he's going to kill Kemosabe and he's going to replace him with this bloke here. This bloke here is the son of the king that Kemosabe, who used to be a general, killed to take over the country in a bloody coup. So it's typical politics. The general kills the king, takes over, runs the country in the ground. You can see how dilapidated it is there in the background, like all the infrastructure's collapsing. He's living like a king, with gold-plated everything, and people are here starving in the streets, eating bark off trees to try and survive. They need him gone. They're going to put this young fella in. He's going to be their puppet leader, and he's going to do all their policies for them. He's going to, everything they say, he's going to just rubber stamp it, and he's going to set up his borders trip at the borders to stop the terrorists from getting through into the. So it's going to stem the flow of extremists. That's their main agenda. So Jira summons a snowstorm here. He can push his cold field towards a general direction, but it takes a lot of time. That's why he tends to use a freeze gun, because it's immediate and direct. Just snap, bam, just shooting people with some ice. He summons a snowstorm, aims it towards Kemosabe. This is a fantastic panel here. This one of Jura pushing. You can see him pushing the snowflakes out, the whole snowstorm out towards.
Yeah, that's cool. Kind of like ninja stars.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and his eyes glow blue when he's activating his powers, which is a nice little touch, I thought, because normally he's got dark eyes. And so then he snap freezes this guy, like within a few seconds, the dude's body freezes over completely and he just shatters, and there's just bloody frozen chunks scatter across the stage. You can see his stump of his wrist and his intestines coming out the side here. Like this sets the tone. You imagine these guys here reaching out this dude saying, "You're a god, you're a king, we love you, you're keeping us alive, you're the only reason we're here." And then he freezes and shatters and explodes all over the stage. To these people, it will look like an act of God. Because if they just put a bullet in his head and then tried to install their own dictator, it'd be a civil war, wouldn't it? So they sent Jura in to make it look like an act of God. He's got a couple of great lines here. He says, this guy claims he's a god. If he's a god, why does he need bulletproof glass? To protect him from people like me. And then he says, this guy claims he's a god, but I'm the one that's about to do a miracle. I'm about to make it snow in Africa. And then he frees this dude, he shatters, and then whoever comes in next is going to look like they were handpicked by God to these people, and these people are going to slavishly bow to him, and then he's going to have run of the place, meaning the CIA/America has run of the nation, stop the extremists. But you know what? This dude's not even dead. Jura gets a call from the boss. The boss says, Jura, I need you to do another mission. And you realize this is just this dude's 9 o'clock appointment in the morning. Like, this is just, I'm okay, I'm done. What's my 10 o'clock appointment? All right, get over to Nigeria. One of our dudes has been pinched by Nigerian national security. They're going to torture him. And you're going to get info that we need and we can't let them have. So get the info off him. He's a dead man. Cut him off, and then come back with the info that I need. And that's where the real story picks up. And then they go to this police station here in Nigeria. And this informant tells them there's a terrorist attack going down. It's going down soon. It's going down in this country. It's been perpetrated by these people. And it's just enough information to make it sound real, but not enough for them to do anything about. So they've got to start investigating. And this is when they start going around their contacts, pushing people around, trading one thing for another, threatening, coercing, cajoling to try and get the information. They get enough information to make them believe it's real. But then they're in government says to them, no, don't look into it. It's not this. You're being played. It's not even a thing. These people don't exist. Don't worry about it. And the more they look into it, the more pushback they get. And they start to think, there's something bigger going on here. And that's where the conflict comes in, because eventually the government says to them, right, we told you to look the other way. You haven't done it. We're burning you. We're cutting you off. We're going back. We're redacting all the records. Have a look. You've never worked for us. There's no record you ever worked for us. You're just rogue agents out there in the Middle East, pissing people off and pushing people around and killing people. You've killed 30 people in the last 48 hours. So we're going to send our people after you. And then other people are after them. So not only do they have to stop this terrorist attack, because if it goes off, it's going to pull America into yet another ground war they just can't afford. Not only do they have to stop that attack, not only do they have to clear their name, they also have to do something to prove they're still useful enough to be taken back by the CIA, because now they've been burned. If they don't find a way to get back to mother, to get back into the embrace of the CIA, they're always going to be on the outs in the international espionage community, the international metahuman community. That's not a good thing either. You don't want to be out in the cold, so it's physical death stakes, it's political death stakes, it's professional death stakes. They've got to overcome these obstacles by the end of the book.
I love it. Wow, I love it. It reminds me a little bit of kind of like what Warren Ellis wrote for Wildstorm when Wildstorm was still a thing before it was sold to DC Comics. Like not Planetary. What was the book before Planetary and before Authority?
Wasn't it?
It reminds me.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. It's right on the tip of my tongue too.
Yeah,
Stormwatch.
Stormwatch. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Stormwatch. I mean, it's not exactly like Stormwatch, but it reminds me. It has the same kind of flavor that Stormwatch had when Warren Ellis was writing that book for Wildstorm years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
This is right up my alley, actually, man. This is I love political espionage books. I was a huge fan of Warren Ellis's Stormwatch and Authority, and also was a fan of Mark Millar's not Authority, Ultimates, because the Ultimates kind of had almost the same flavor, but obviously the Ultimates you couldn't take it too far because it was a Marvel owned book. But this looks fantastic, man. This is there's nothing holding you back. You have no editorial telling you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's nice. This is the upside to indie comics. Yeah, is that you don't have anyone telling you, "Oh, no, you can't do that because you might upset this group or you might upset that group." This is just straight up bold story about a group of anti-heroes who are doing what they're doing for various reasons, which is fantastic. And yeah, man, this book is I'm not surprised that it met its goal. I'm not surprised that it's met its goal so fast, so quickly, because this book is what readers especially are hungry for. And this is what's missing in today's mainstream comics is these kind of stories that kind of push the boundaries, that kind of explore certain ideas that people are afraid to explore because of our current PC times that we're living in. So it's fantastic, man. You sold me. I'm definitely going to back this one.
Thank you.
Are you going to do you have a PDF or take us down the tiers here? What do you have to offer?
So look at the tiers. All right. So first of all, we've got the we do have a digital one. All physical editions of the book come with a digital as well. My hope is that when you see the price of the digital versus the price of the physical, you're like, well, we may as well just bump it up to the physical. But if you can't, if you for whatever reason, I know some people are hurt at the moment, especially in the US. There's some people that are struggling with some stuff that's going on there with the weather and that. That's okay. Grab the PDF and get the physical another time. I'm going to overprint. I'm sure there'll be some few later on. So the first one we got the 80-page deluxe edition. It's got the Clayton Barton cover, which I'll grab some art of the Clayton Barton cover in a minute and show you guys. That looks fantastic. Sure. There's a little picture of it there, but I'll find a big one in a minute. With colors by Corey Barton, his brother. So that looks great, seeing those two brothers work together on the book. It's got an extra 20 pages on top. So you've got 60 story pages. I'm talking about the standard editions. It's got 60 pages. It's 60 story pages. Either side of that, of course, you're going to have a couple of pinups. You're going to have, a thank you page. You're going to have credits, that sort of stuff. But it's 60 story pages from woe to go. So when I say 60 pages, it's not 54 pages of story. It's 60 all up. So you get 60 pages of story here, 20 pages of everything else: script, breakdowns, character art, concept art, character progressions, character profiles, sneak peeks to upcoming company men projects. I've got a bunch of stuff already planned and written. Like, I'm a pretty prolific writer. I can smash out about 10,000 words a day if I don't have any interruptions. So
I have to say, I love your confidence. I love it. It's fantastic. It's a breath of fresh air. Not many writers can go out and say that outrightly, and I like that. No, it's not a diss or anything. It's very admirable.
Yeah,
but go on.
So I've got Company Men Black, which is like this side mini series of Black Ops, where the boss, who's the African American lady there, she gathers temporary groups of company men, people picked from different walks of life, different metahumans that she needs just for one mission, and she picks them very, very specifically because there's some of them she picks because they've got a strong moral core, and she'll put them with really bad, horrible killers, and she'll send them in together. G'day, Greg. She'll send them in together so that the horrible dudes can kill everybody, but the moral core dude will keep the person that they're trying to pick up alive, so she balances the team. So they specifically picked for that purpose. Sometimes she picks someone who's not a killer, knowing specifically they'll do everything they can to rein the others in for that particular mission. So there's 3 side missions called Company Men Black, Black Site, Black Ops, Black Bag. There's also individual stories for Abbott and Cinder, and a couple of the others have their own stories. Cinder goes back home to deal with the mafia that he come from, because he's a mafia hitman before he was hired to do this. Abbott's dealing with the fact that he was grown like Captain America. He was created to be a hero, but he never got a chance to be a hero. His story is he was grown in World War II to go over and kill Hitler. And the minute he's covered in the red, white, and blue costume, ready to go, very, very patriotic, jumped off the plane in Berlin, is ready to head straight into Berlin and break Hitler's neck. And then somebody comes up and says, "Oh, bro, we just found the Fuhrer. He shot himself. He's committed suicide in his bunker, just like what happened in our world." And Abbott's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I'm 6 weeks old. I was grown out of a tube. I was born. I don't have a navel. I don't have fingerprints. I'm an artificial human. I was created for one purpose, to kill Hitler and end the war. And now the war's essentially over. What am I going to do?" So he spends the next 80 years just crisscrossing America, getting into trouble on his Harley. And so he becomes this big, gruff, burly, blue collar, crude, sort of guy. Very salt of the earth. So he's got his own story as well. He's doing a road trip across America, trying to find out more about his origins and become the hero he was always meant to be. So all that sort of stuff. I've got stuff about that's going to be in this.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, it's
I like that.
And yeah, like because I write quick, I've got a lot of this stuff already scripted. I've got the 3 Black scripts done. I've got Abbott's script done. Cinder's script's almost done. So
and this is part of the deluxe edition?
There'll be hints and bits and pieces about this in the deluxe edition, just to give you a look at upcoming.
Because that story sounds fantastic as well. That's a story I would love to read.
Yeah, I'm already
point.
Yeah, I'm already talking to artists about. I've got a couple of artists that have. Like, I'm really lucky that this seems to be impacting with some people. You said it's definitely right up your alley, and I recognize it's not for everyone. Like, we want to make art that's as accessible and viable as it can be for everybody. But I realize there's a level of violence here, a level of political intrigue that might turn some people off. Like, if you're not a fan of Bond, if you're not a fan of those other shows I mentioned, like Strike Back and Eyes and Homeland, that sort of thing, you might not. I can't promise everybody's going to love this book because of its content. I am writing the book I want to see. This is the sort of thing I want to read. So it'll super appeal to some people. It'll to some people. I understand that. So I'm just going to keep plugging away, making what I make. But there's all sorts of stuff in this deluxe edition, script pages, Kelso's breakdowns before he goes to the finished version, stuff like that. Old character, my character sketches versus his, so you can see the progression of the characters, how they changed from what I drew to what he wanted to draw. He made a few changes. So you got the digital edition here. Now these all prices are all in Australian dollars, so once you convert them, they're quite a bit cheaper actually. And then you got the standard edition at 60 pages plus the physical. So all physical plus the digital. All physical editions come with a digital edition as well. Because why not? I want to get the book in as many hands as possible. I've got a bit down there later. It says, digital edition, don't pirate me, bro. But someone's going to do it. I can't stop it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you can't stop it. That's what I figured too. I was when I was doing the Ghetto Dragon campaign, I was thinking about should I watermark it? But then people are paying for it, so I don't know. But then I just realized, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna freaking for me anyway. I don't know how you're gonna approach it, but what I did was I'm not gonna add any extra stuff in the PDF. It's just gonna be the straight story, and the extra stuff will be at the print in the print version. So that way, the people who did get the print will get the extra stuff as opposed to the digital copy, which is just the story itself and nothing more. Yeah. So
I know plenty of digital books that I've backed, and I've got friends online that I've backed. And nobody's ever said to each other, "Oh, hey, I backed Ghetto Dragon. Did you want the digital to check it out?" Like, everybody you just do it yourself, because the digital isn't that expensive.
Yeah, it's not.
So you just might as well. This community is all about lifting up other creators, and
absolutely.
I've backed a couple of hundred projects now because the digital is so affordable. I can just go through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, go, yep, back it, $5, $6, $4, $3, $5, done. That's my day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got the triple pack here. The triple pack comes with 3 different covers, so it's the same book, twice, and then the deluxe edition. So the one you see here on the edge, that's the Renzo Rodriguez cover. He's got a fantastic cover that he put together for me, and it was the sign up bonus one. So if you signed up to the emailing list ahead of time, you'd be able to get a secret perk link to that one. So the only other way to get that Renzo Rodriguez cover, if you didn't sign up to the emailing list for the couple of months beforehand when I was pimping it and trying to get people to sign up, the only way to get it is in this triple pack. Now, aside from the triple pack, the other physical editions is free shipping in Australia. So if you're an Aussie and you buy the deluxe or you buy the standard edition, it's actually free shipping. The only thing I couldn't do free shipping on was the triple pack. It's just too heavy. I had to put a little bit of shipping on there just to cover that cost. We've also got original art pages from Kemosabe. And I was giving art pages away to people who signed up. I'm going to do like a lottery for them, like a raffle draw. And I think because I haven't done that yet, some people are holding off on backing this tier. They want to see if they've won a page before they buy a page.
Okay.
So to get the page,
these are original. These are his original pages. His Bristol paper with
That's
his.
it.
Okay, wow. So there you go, guys. It's well worth it because original art is always a great piece of you can hang it on the wall. It's beautiful. I mean, this artist, because you see he's a very talented and skilled artist in his own right. So I would imagine an original art page would look fantastic, just in the black and white inks.
Yeah, they really do. It's got this really tight, detailed style. There's lots of little hatching and bits and pieces. When you see the black and whites, like the color enhances it so much and makes it look so vibrant and bombastic. But there is just something about that straight black and white art. I think because, again, it's got almost a Silver Age style to the way where he places his blacks. And it just looks so striking. When he sends me black and white pages, I'm just always amazed at how good they look. So there's a bunch of those up for grabs. If you're not somebody who signed up and you don't therefore have a chance to win an art page in the raffle that's coming up at the start of March, you got a chance to get a page here this way. And again, that's Australian dollars, so it's a fair bit cheaper once you look at the US conversion. It's pretty cheap for a page of original art. There's character sketches, so if you pick any character you want, Kelso's going to draw it to a high standard in his style. You can pick a character from the book, you can pick your own character, you can pick a character who exists, Batman, Cable, whatever, and he'll draw that character for you. There's also nice. the cover itself, which I really want to have over my computer here so I can look up and see where it all started. But again, I'm just thinking about seeding into the future of this book, so I'll put that up available. If anybody wants that original Kemosabe cover in black and white, and there's also
sacrificing it, eh? That's very that's very what do you call it? Gosh, I can't think of the word. Very big of you. There you go. It's very big of you to give something up like that, because I wouldn't. I'd be like, I'm gonna put it on my wall. I don't care. But
that's what I wanted. Yeah, but I mean, if it's a fair chunk of change. If that comes in, that helps put me just that bit further over. It gives me a bit more breathing room when it comes to the pricings on things. We also had a sign print from Clayton Barton on his original, because he works digitally. So we're going to print it out at the highest res we can, best quality we can. He's going to sign it, and that's going to be just the one-off, one of a kind. That got picked up on the first day, which I was really happy to see that go. That was really
awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome that someone did, because that's a great cover, by the way. Clayton Barton's cover is a fantastic,
it's excellent.
Is he a professional? Is he a professional that works for the mainstream, or is he an indie creator?
He's an indie creator. He's another Aussie creator. Currently his book Kozor is, I think it's in demand at the moment, and it's kind of like if you cross the chaos from Warhammer with Conan, that sort of body horror type stuff, but like an ancient barbarian world. He-Man crossed with Hellraiser, I guess. It's a very, very cool aesthetic that he's got going on there.
Yeah, no, it does for sure. Okay, well, yeah, those are fantastic tiers that you have there, and guys, if you have thought about backing this project, if maybe you're on the fence, and after watching this live stream with Talking Comics, hopefully you will back it now, because this book is definitely, like I said, we're right up my alley. I think we don't have enough books like these out these days, and especially in the mainstream, because for whatever reason, I don't know what the reasons are, but if you're looking for something like that, and I have been looking for a book like this, because I do miss them. I do miss going to the comic book shop and picking up a book like a Punisher, or like a Stormwatch, or the Authority when they're still around, and have that political intrigue that I do like, sprinkled on there, not so much in my face, but just enough where it's like, okay, I can still recognize what's going on here in the political side of things, but I can still enjoy the story and the character development alongside this political drama that's going on, or this espionage story that's going on in the comics. So this is fantastic work, man. Well done. How long did this take you to develop and create? Was this something that just came to you, or was it a multi-year process? Take us through that process.
Because I'm always writing and I'm always getting new ideas, I often say I've got more IPs and ideas than I've got years left in my life. I'm turning 40 this year. Just say you give me another 40 years, it's probably a fairly conservative estimate. That's still, if I did one IP a year, I still wouldn't get to the bottom of them all. I've got enough stuff developed to this quality, this level, this saleability that I could do more than one a year and still not get through them all. So I was watching.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And by the way, you say you're turning 40 this year?
Yeah.
You don't look it, brother. You don't look it.
Yeah,
so I don't know what they're feeding you down there in Australia, but I want some.
Yeah, so it's all like kangaroo meat. It's good stuff. It's really, really high in protein. It's very strong flavor, very gamey. But if you can get used to it, it's
Oh, wait a minute, you're serious?
Yeah. No.
Wow! I had no idea that people ate kangaroo meat. I didn't know that was a thing in Australia.
Yeah, because they're better for our environment than cows and stuff like that. I mean, look, I like a good beef steak as well, but really would have been smart if Aussies had just stuck with the roux and not necessarily had brought cows over, because they do a lot of damage to the environment with their hard hooves. Like the Australian environment's not adapted for that. The kangaroos have got soft padded feet. They produce they reproduce like crazy. There's heaps of meat in them. It's super lean meat. Like you can eat it all day and it doesn't have any negative health effects. High in protein. It's very filling, like very dense. You eat half amount of roux meat is what you do beef meat, and you'll be full. Like it's just very, very filling, very dense meat. Yeah.
Comics Bait says kangaroo steak is shit, though. Is that true?
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste.
Like a lot of Australian food, like Vegemite, like VB.
I have to say, if I ever do go down under, I will have to try kangaroo meat, because now I'm curious. I'm curious to know what that tastes like, because I never dreamed that people ate kangaroo meat. Yeah, so that's that's fantastic. That's good to know.
You can get it in most supermarkets. You walk in the supermarket meat department, you'll have it at the side there. There'll be like a whole section of roux. You get meatball sausages, you get mince, steaks, patties, all sorts of stuff. So diced, yeah.
That's crazy.
It's right next to the dog food section of the coal area, so that tells you something. It's good for you. It's good for you. It's so good.
So you're saying you had all these stories written out. Yeah, so was this one story that you had written out years ago and you just held on to it until
it was, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Around about 2007, 2012, I was reading and looking at a lot of stuff to do with the Middle East and the wars that were going on over there. A lot of the TV shows had that focus. Again, I can list Body of Lies, Black Hawk Down, Homeland, Strike Back. Those sort of shows had a lot of focus on that international arena. Those shades of grey. The fact that some goat herder might be harboring a terrorist because it's his cousin's cousin, and he has no societally he has no choice but to do that. So he's not a bad guy. He's just in a tough situation. Or maybe the whole village falls under the ownership of a particular terrorist leader, and they have to, if they don't do that, they're going to get shot, but then the Americans come in and say, tell us where your cousin is. He's like, but it's my cousin, I can't do that. So in that situation, there's no bad guy. There's a dude trying to do right by his cousin. There's some soldiers trying to fight what they see as a threat. They all see themselves as the good guy in that situation. And I just thought it's a really bleak, really striking part of the world, really striking set of circumstances happening there. Drop a bunch of dudes in spandex and color in there and see them use their black and white superhero morality amidst those shades of grey. And that in my head was becoming the company man in my head. And it was around that time, one of the Christmases that year or the year after, we're on the coast there doing some camping, and it just burst out raining. My brother used to live in that town. He said, "You dickhead, it rains there every year for Christmas. Nobody goes there for Christmas. Didn't you notice all the cars are leaving as you were driving in?" He said it rains for a week over Christmas non-stop. It was bucketing. It's coming in sideways. So I'm stuck there under a tarp, 12 layers on, freezing to death, thinking this is the worst week of my life. I hate this. Why are we here? And I thought, well, I got nothing else to do. I've got a silky notebook and a biro. Let's make it happen. I just started writing out the company man, because it was as a writer, it's in your head going round and round and round. Every time you do something, it's going, hey,
yeah,
hey, let me out. Let me out. Do something with me. Realize me. Make me real. And that's what I did. So I just started writing, and I just had this idea of, and all the characters. It's probably the purest writing experience I've ever had. Outside of writing my novels, which is a similar sort of thing, the characters just turned up and did their own thing, and I was just narrate. I was dictating. I was just saying, this is what I'm seeing happen in my head. Jura was there. I saw him standing in a bombed out building, looking through an arched window. You know, that sort of Islamic Muslim architecture. You know how they're not allowed to depict animals and figures and stuff. So they have a lot of geometric shapes and stuff like that to decorate the building. So it's a bombed out building. He's looking through the archway. He's seeing this guy give a speech down the bottom there. He uses his ice powers to freeze the dude. The dude shatters. Then he's like, I'm gonna head home and jump in the shower and grab some hookers on the company dime, because that's what I do. I'm a bad dude. And he gets a call through from the boss saying, I need you to go over here. And characters, names, and events just come up in my head. She said, you're gonna meet Cinder over there. So he turns up. There's this other dude with this other set of powers. He just turned up. There's a scene later on. They're trying to get this dude who's flying into the country illegally. So they hit his plane with a lightning bolt, and the plane's plummeting. And he jumps out with a parachute. And he's like, well, he's all the way over there. He's gonna die. I can't get him. So Jura turns and says, Abbott, can you reach him from here? Can you like jump over like the Hulk and grab him? And Abbott's like, no, if I do that at this speed, I'll cut him in half or kill him. So Abbott just turned up on the stage, fully formed. His name, his look, the clothes he had on, his attitude, his power set, that he just walked into the stage of my mind and just did what he did. And all these characters just turned up and acted out. I've never had such a focused, pure writing experience. I don't ever think everything else, because it's sort of thing where, because it's political and it's all red herrings and double crossing, anytime I'd get stuck, I just give them a new clue and they'd go follow that clue and find a new dude. And it would just add to the mystery, just add to this growing tree of and branches of ideas where things branch off, and you've got all this, you just don't know who's. You don't know who's on your side, who's against your side. Anybody who helps them at the beginning ends up betraying them by the end. People who betray them at the end have to turn around and help them to save themselves from the beginning. So it's a complete flip around. It's such a in the space of maybe a week, I got the whole thing written out while we were there camping, and it was ended up being about 180 pages written out longhand. And then I took that back and I typed it all up. Originally, I was going to draw it myself. I mean, this is 2012, so it's 10 years ago. Yeah. And after getting like 3 or 4 pages done, I thought, this is not happening. I'm never getting this done. And
so you filed it away, kind of let it sit there.
Yeah. And I'd keep working on other stuff. But then the COVID hit and I was out of work, and the missus said, well, I'll go back to work because her job pays a fair bit more than mine, and her job's always in demand, sort of thing. So she went back to work, and I stayed with the kids. She said, look, while I'm at work and you're at home, while we're making a little bit of extra money, why don't you make that comic happen you've always wanted to make, Which one do you think's the most profitable? And I said, well, I reckon Company Man's the one that I could sell the most. And she said, let's make it happen. So that's what the last year's been, man. Just finding the right people, getting them together, getting Kelso on the art, getting Dio on the colors. Stephen Koch from Sigmate Studios has come over to do the letters. He's amazing at what he does. Honestly, he's one of the best letterers of just. His intrinsic knowledge of the craft. And there's the Renzo Rodriguez cover. I love that. It's got real planetary vibes,
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. It really does. It's almost like a Frank Quietly, like a Frank Quietly inspiration for sure. Yeah. Pose. Yeah,
he's talked to me quietly. He said, that Abbott story you got going. You got an artist for that? Yes. I said no, but I love the way you draw Abbott. If I do get the money together for it, I'll definitely be hitting him up. Hopefully he's still available when it happens, because I'd love to see Abbott's road trip story in his style. He absolutely perfectly captures the dude.
Yeah, great. I hope he draws it. I hope you give him the job to draw that story, because that sounds like a great story, and it sounds like you can have a great universe that you're going to build off of this Company of Man. And hopefully it does grow, because it'd be like, this is, like I said, it's right up my alley. I'm excited about it. I'm actually looking forward to reading it, and I can't wait. Can't wait for December to get this book in my hands, or in my computer, because I'm going to get the digital. But I don't know. We'll see how my income looks when I get paid this Friday. And if I have a little bit extra spare, I'll probably get both the digital and the physical copy. So at least I get the physical copy.
Yeah, the physical comes with the digital for free. So
okay. Well, there you go. So then
that's what I'm saying.
I'll just get the physical one then.
Yeah, and since you're in the US, just have a look at the physical tiers, because again, the shipping's about half what, if you bought a book from Australia before, maybe you haven't, but anybody who has, shipping's about half what you'd expect to pay from an Australian book previously, because RJ's doing all the fulfillment from within the US. It's really cut the costs right down.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, right down to the cent.
Cool. Yeah, he chose the right guy too to distribute the books in America, because he is very knowledgeable about that kind of thing. Because he's
a real stand-up guy. He had a spreadsheet
author himself, so he knows a thing or two about independent distribution. So great choice, man. Sounds like you had a Well, first of all, I want to give kudos to your wife for supporting you in your work and reminding you to go for it and to keep on pursuing your dreams, because this, you have to remember, guys, we're in this because we love it. We're not in this because we want to make money, we want to be rich or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, that'd be nice.
Nice.
But like overall, it's the passion. We are passionate about comics. We love comic books. We love how the medium offers us an opportunity to tell a story that you can't really produce in a film or in a TV show because of the cost, production, actors, that kind of thing. With this, all you need is a great artist and a highly active imagination and a skill set, and you're good to go. And comic books are, like, for me anyway, I'm sure for Kemosabe as well, and everyone else who's doing a comic book project on Indiegogo or on Kickstarter, we're doing it because we love it. We love comics. We love producing comics. We love reading comics. So just remember that this show, Talking Comics, that's why this is called Talking Comics, because, this is about the medium and how much we love it and how much we want to grow from it and how much we want to push the boundaries of the medium. Because Alan Moore was right when he said that we haven't scratched the surface yet on how much we could expand on the actual medium itself. And never forget that there's still so much to explore for the comic book medium. And artists and creators like myself and Kemosabe and everyone else in the indie comic book scene, we're going to push it. We're going to push it, and we're going to show a thing or two on to the pros that are kind of dropping the ball in a lot of ways in Marvel and DC and Image. So stay tuned. Watch it, because Company of Men is gonna blow up. It already blew up. You already hit your goal, and you have 52 days left in the campaign. So let's try to push that. Let's try to make it to 10,000. Let's try to push it to $10,000, and by the end of the few weeks that come by, let's try to push that. Let's try to get that forward and get this book out into the hands of as many readers as possible, because the artwork is phenomenal. The story sounds solid. And there's just so much to offer from Black Prior Press. Is that the name of your comic book company?
That's the name of my imprint, but I've brought the company in under the Brain Cage banner with Greg Levitre and Chris Oakes, Stefani Renee, a bunch of other creators, Ben Phelps. We're all coming together to create a shared universe. So,
there you go.
Yeah, so the Company Man's going to be crossing over with Gun Demon. It's going to be crossing over with all these other characters. We've already planned out the shared universe. The way that because we've got like a World War Hell property set in World War II. The way that it crosses over with Abbott and him being in World War II. The way they blend together. The way that it's very much like Planetary, in that the effects of this lead to an agency being formed that comes across and forms the Company Men. So it all links in together. And while it's helpful to note, like, the stories are standalone in that you can enjoy them on their own, but when you see the whole range, you can see how it all links in together, and it's one story, one narrative with many branches coming off it. It's going to be one of the biggest shared universes in the indie. I mean, we've already got half a dozen, probably close to 8 creators under the banner, and we're working in phases. So Greg's Gun Demon and my Company Man is phase 1, and phase 2, phase 3. So we're going to roll those out over subsequent years. If everything goes the way that we've got it planned, it's going to be huge, and you're going to be seeing Brain Cage everywhere. That's
fantastic. That's great to hear. And by the way, I will give a shout out to Greg Levitre. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Greg Levitre? Is that how you pronounce it?
If so. Yeah.
Gun Demon does look sick. I've seen a few images that he's posted, I think, on his Twitter account. If I believe so. And it's looking fantastic, the Gun Demon book. So Greg, hit me up on Twitter, and I'll have you on when you're ready to launch that book, because I would love to talk about that project as well, because it does look fantastic. I think that's about about sums it up. The hour flew by, man. Wow, it
really
like
did.
We were talking for an hour, but
I looked down like, it's 8 o'clock. I can't believe it.
I know, it's crazy.
It's like you said, when two comic dudes are just talking comics, like it can happen quick. You throw a couple of beers in, it'll be next week before you know it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, other than that, I don't think I have anything else. You pretty much covered everything, all the questions that I had about it, and I'm digging. Like I said, I'm digging the project. And anything else you want to add before we call it?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, like 100% of the art's done, all the colors and letters are 50% done and budgeted for separately from this campaign. So me hitting the goal is me covering publishing and shipping costs. All the other stuff, I've already got the money set aside for it. That's happening. Like I'm getting pages every couple of days. Like Dio works fast. He can knock out 5 pages in 3 days. So he's 5 pages, bam, pay him. 5 pages, bam, pay him. So this is getting further and further and further ahead. This book's a lock. It's guaranteed. All you've got to do is just trust me with a little bit of your money, and I'll deliver. This is, RJ's handling all the distribution in America, so that's solid as well. Like he knows what he's doing. He's got a plan. It's down to the cent. This has been planned so tightly. The only way it could go wrong is if somebody gets hit by a bus or I get hacked by the Chinese again. Like short of that, this book is happening. We've had so many bad actors, so many people fall short, so many people run 1, 2, 3 years over. This book, you're going to get it before December. All right, it's happening before that. Don't even worry.
Oh, there you go. So don't forget, guys, to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not, to Talking Comics with Julius Freeman. And leave a comment after the fact if you like to. I'm glad. Hail to the chat. The chat has been very entertaining. I've been checking out what you guys have been talking about, and some of it's pretty funny. So thank you guys for joining us on the show. Kemosabe, where can they find you? Do you have a YouTube channel and a Twitter?
Yeah. So Kemosabe returns on YouTube. I do critical indie comic reviews, which is how I was trying to build my platform to prove that I know what makes a good story. Ergo, I can write a good story. That's not always true, but in this case, it is. I'm also on Twitter at Lee Byron Carver is my so just one word at Lee Byron Carver. And I'm about to head over to Shay to Red Valkyrie's channel now for a show. So if you guys want to jump over and follow me over that way, that's cool too. And see you guys over there.
Awesome. And I'm gonna still hold you to it, man. You better give me an honest review of the Ghetto Dragon once you get it.
Yeah, 100%. You got no.
And don't worry, you heard it here, folks. I'm gonna make it official. My feelings will not be hurt. I will not get butthurt. I won't bad tweet Kemosabe for giving me a bad review of the Ghetto Dragon, because obviously it's all about growth. It's all about now that I have a bit more background of your story. Now I'm fully aware that you are definitely a student of the game of writing, and when you have a constructive criticism from a fellow creator, then that's even better, because then you just grow from there, as opposed to just being held down. It's a matter of recognizing your errors, recognizing your insecurities and your faults in your writing ability. Because I'm not a perfect writer, but I'm always willing and ready to grow from my previous mistakes in the previous stories that I've written. So I'll be looking forward to your video of you reviewing the Ghetto Dragon. And guys, if you have not backed the Ghetto Dragon, back it. It's on in demand at the moment. A bit of an update on my end. I finally had the colored pages turned into me. So right now I'm currently working on the PDF. So the PDFs will probably go out sometime this week. And once I get the PDFs out, then I'm going to send the files to the printer to get some samples. So that way I can know that the printing is going to be top notch, because I don't want to print a whole bunch of copies and end up being, a terrible print. So it's going to, the March delivery date that I had promised originally is going to be postponed, unfortunately, because I want to make sure that the printing quality is top notch before I send it out to you, to the backers, because like I said, I don't want you guys to get a crappy, print copy of the Ghetto Dragon. I want it to be nice and pristine. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is situated there. So hold on. So I'm gonna. Okay. That's I just missed. I said something about the NWO, and I was like, what's going on over there at the NWO? So with that said, guys, thank you for joining on the show. Follow Kemosabe on Twitter. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, and he is going to be on Red Valkyrie's show coming up next. She is a great hostess. She has a great channel. Subscribe to her channel as well, because she does produce quality work over there. So share some of my love to her when you go there. And let her know that I'm still waiting for my invite for her show, because she hasn't had me on her show yet.
No, she's busy. I hit her up before the campaign launched, and she's like, "Yeah, I can fit you in 3 weeks." I'm like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah, she's very busy.
I'm grateful for the spot, but very busy.
Very busy. But I can understand why, because she has very good quality work and she does hustle. So there's that. So with that said, guys, hail to the chat. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. and have a good one. We'll see you next week. I'll have another guest on. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I will have someone else on next week. So see you later. Take it easy.